He'd probably add another guard if he could. Um,
Jamal Crawford.
I can't see him bringing Jamal's not like you said the best ability is availability.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be available. Um, I really have no answers. That's why I've been looking within. But watching tonight, it's like there's a lot of guys who could just by stepping up, just by getting comfortable, could take a lot of pressure off this team. And Landry Shamet can play, man. I I I've seen him on other teams. I liked what I saw, but these 28% shooting nights, man. Uh,
By the way, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. The one guy who I have heard some rumblings about, to answer D Rock's question, was former net Rondé Hollis Jefferson, who was
Ooh.
that's a name that I've heard a little bit here and there of someone the Nets should target. I was kind of over the Rondé era, but I think there's worse people they could sign as a 15th man than him.
I, I'd be shocked if it was Rondé. I think Rondé's next step is China. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just don't see it. He can't make a layup. And we have too many people who can't make layups. Like Shamit can't buy a layup. Shamit shot 50% from three and still shot 28% from everything else. Um, you know, uh, DeAndre Jordan was was 1 for 4 tonight. We can't add another person that can't make layups. We need someone who's going to, do what we thought Rondé was going to do, like be athletic, dunk on people, energy rebounds, energy layups, putbacks. Like Rondé can't buy a putback sometimes.
Yeah,
I think if
he's the only player that's got a worse layup package than Torian Prince.
that no, and in some of the things that I've got to question Sean Marks for, like Landry Shamet can't buy a layup either.
No, you can't.
You know what I mean? So these guys are shooters, and we got to see that tonight. But somehow this team was able to overcome. Karis LeVert was plus 23 tonight. I don't think we've talked about him enough. He was plus 23 tonight. He gave us 22 points, 7 rebounds. He shot 36%. He's so inefficient, but like he looked like the best player on the court. Am I overhyping my eldest son?
I don't think so. I'm looking at the stat line right now. Double double, 3 rebounds away from a triple double. I don't necessarily look at that as the make all.
But he shot 40% from the free throw. Like, Karis, what
Yeah.
are you doing, boy? Sam, what's the mental block that Karis has that's keeping himself? He's keeping himself from superstardom. What's happening with Karis?
I mean, I think he's been put in a tough spot because he's going in and out of. I mean, he was the best player they had on the team in the bubble. Then he goes back to being like third, fourth banana. Now he again was the primary option. So I do think it's hard when your role is switching constantly. So like from that perspective, I hear you. I mean, I still have, no matter what his percentages are, and this year hasn't been good, I still don't really trust him from three. Like, I think I think he's way better kind of doing the driving to the lane, hesitating, pumping.
He was 0 for 5 from 3 today.
Yeah.
And he can shoot. And in the gym, I forgot what it was, but he owns the record for most 3-pointers made in a certain amount of time. And Joe Harris hasn't been able to duplicate that. So for me, it's like there's a shooter in there, but he's not focused. I don't know, Sam. Am I crazy?
I don't got anything. D-Rock, what do you
Well, I look at his shooting form. I've never liked that quick release, that shooting form of his.
Yeah,
If you look at Joe
flicker.
Harris's shooting form, exactly right. It almost reminds you of Sean Marion.
Oh, it's not that
Sean
ugly.
Marion
It's
had a pretty, that
it's
was a
not
pretty
that ugly.
shot.
It's ugly,
Yeah.
but it's not that ugly.
Yeah, but Joe Harris's shot is so smooth. You know, even when he misses, you like when he shoots it, you're like, oh man, that's going in. I think they got to work on his form, and he has to pretty much stick with what he's good at. You know, go where your bread is buttered. That mid-range game for him is perfect. Mid-range and down. If he takes an open 3-point shot because Kyrie or KD broke somebody off the dribble and you're shooting it, then fine, that's a great shot. But not when you're dribble, you're not passing anybody. You know, you get the pick from DeAndre, you get the pick from Allen, you go to the corner and shoot a three, which he did tonight. I think he did that a couple of times, and they both missed. So got to go where your bread is buttered, mid-range shot and below.
I think he did an amazing job guarding Ben Simmons. So I'll add that also to the stars that I'm going to give Karras. He shot 0 for 5 from 3. That's unacceptable. But at the same time, he was such a force tonight that, look, Chris Chiozza was -10 tonight, right? Karis LeVert was a plus 23. He really, really imposed his will on this game, and he did look like the best player, even though, you know, some facets of his game sucked. All right, fellas, let's do our 3 things and get the hell out of here. So I'll explain each one as we do them. D-Rock. The first one we're gonna do tonight is give us a stat. Like, we're all looking at the box score, right? Give us a stat that tells us the story of the game. D-Rock, since you're our guest, you start.
All right. I'm going to go with the points off the turnovers. 76ers had 20 of them. We only had 12. But they were only able to get 7 points while we got 35.
Wow. That'll win a ball game.
Yep.
All right, that's an excellent one for your first time on the show. You really hit that out the park, man. I appreciate you, D-Rock. Sam,
Thank you.
Give me that stat.
You know, I'm going to go with something that's negative about the Nets, but kind of shows that they still had control of the game. And Eve, you hit on this at the beginning of the pod. Nets go 19 of 29 from the free throw line, 66%, and at times they could have put this game away even earlier. And it definitely gave the Sixers life that they kept missing their free throws. And by the way, did anyone else? I found the Nets, like, they almost looked uncomfortable taking the free throws. Like, Harris's were gross, LeVert's were bad. Like, there was something, I don't know.
Even
it was
KD
a very
is
weird,
not
like,
shooting his normal self in 3. Like, whoever's coaching them in 3 at the free throw line, I think it needs to be fired. Like, what? It's weird because, you know, KD is a 90% from the free throw line guy, and he's missed some in low pressure situations. Man, I've been disappointed with that, and that's a great point out. You wanted to add anything to that?
No, you like you hit it. What's your stat?
So, like, I talked about so much about, Jared Allen's win shares, offensive win shares. Like, because you know it's real what's happening with Jared Allen because you see it in the advanced stats almost unanimously. His stat dorks are going to be drooling over this guy as he comes on their radar. But for me, it's putting the mirror image of Joel Embiid having 20 and 12 and shooting 50%. That's a pretty good game, and just repeating the numbers. Jared Allen 15 and 11. 83% from the field, 1 block. Jared Allen, beyond these numbers, which makes it seem like it was close, had a way better game than Embiid. I mean, I hope I don't sound like I'm crazy here, but that's why you need the advanced. I tried to look at all of the advanced analytics across the board, and if it was a couple of them, he was in the top 10, top 15, top 20, and then maybe I would have more doubts about Jared Allen. But because advanced analytics wise, he is across the board in with the biggest names in the league. And even though, centers tend to do a little bit better in those win shares ratings, still, he, all things being equal, is having a heavy effect on the game. And his defense, you could just feel how different the Nets defense was when DeAndre came in the game. And so, it's not necessarily, plus minus, but it's just, Jared Allen, he just basically disproves all the stats in my mind, because no way, and am I tripping, Sam? No way did Embiid have a better game than Jared tonight.
No, I mean, not at all. I mean, look, it's like for Embiid, it can be easier for him to kind of rack up stats because of his size and because of his talent. But Allen, I thought it was pretty clear that Allen outplayed him today. Yeah. And Embiid had a little bit of the huffing and puffing going up the court, and you look at Embiid's, that's kind of the thing with him, with Embiid, with a lot of these stars, when you end up having such an expectation, it's not that hard for them at a certain point to put up stats, but when they're having a good game, or when they're having when LeBron has a great triple-double and when he's got his mediocre triple-double.
Exactly. And again, I find myself quoting, and I think it's because we're doing the nightly thing, but plus minus, Embiid was negative 16 tonight, and Jared was the opposite of that. So I really appreciate that, and I'm gonna let it flow right into. I'll go with and give you my player that had the play of the night that that to me told the story of the game. When we're trying to measure out what Jared Allen could be and why he's so dominant, there was this one play where Jared is diving into the lane. And it was a mini fast break, and somehow it became a foot race between Jared Allen and Embiid to the rim, and he was just so much faster than Embiid. That play, just he was too. And I know they're not thoroughbred horses, but he was 2 lengths ahead of him. He was just gone on Embiid, and that, to me, that just showed how much raw, talent that this guy, Jared Allen has. He's fast off the floor. He's quick. He bounds. He touches the floor and he's back up again. He's definitely a fast twitch player, but he's the perfect player, and that showed, that play embodied why he was, so dominant tonight. D-Rock, what play told the story for you?
So this one wasn't necessarily a play, so I'm going to cheat a little bit. It was actually a moment. And my moment / play is when Jared Allen was being guarded by Dwight Howard, and Dwight Howard got called for a foul, I think, before the ball was even inbounded. And Jared Allen kept his composure. We saw what Dwight was trying to do.
Yeah.
Dwight Howard's not the player he used to be. Definitely not the gazelle that Jared Allen is now. Right now in his current form. So he tried to intimidate him by pushing him around, and Jared Allen kept his head in the game. And maybe if that was a younger Jared,